I'm back. Rogan for the Black and White Network. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit subscribe, pound that like button, and as always, thank you guys and gals for watching. Let's talk about the owner of one of the largest podcasts in all of the world, Joe Rogan. Of course, he is also a UFC commentator. And people on the left don't really seem to like Joe Rogan much anymore. He's somebody a lot like Elon Musk that used to align himself as a liberal, but he's learning he's lost his place over there. There is no place. Bill Maher's going through this a little bit right now. And, of course, he has come out. He is questioning a lot of things that has to do with freedoms in this country. He started with the Wuhan virus. Of course, there was fallout around him and Aaron Rodgers, quarterback of the Green Bay Packers, over how to treat said virus. And, of course, the leftists, the Twitter mob, they all tried to cancel his ass over that. And then they put out the greatest hits N-word compilation with absolutely no context. He had said the word a few times on his podcast when telling stories that he thought, there was context there because it was secondhand story passed down to him kind of thing. Well, anyway, they tried to cancel him. It didn't work. In fact, it backfired. He said he grew by 2 million subscribers during that controversial time period. Spotify came out and said, we're not canceling this dude. And the mainstream media can't stand Joe Rogan because, simply put, he's got a much larger reach than all of them combined. 210 million listens a month. My God. Can we get a little, like, 5% of that action? That would be awesome. But you get the point. And now he has come out. He has said something about banning guns. And I think in the back of our minds, he's bringing up something, too, that needs to be said. It's something that we're concerned about when you start getting into any kind of strict gun control. This, of course, is part of the Uvalde fallout. And there's all kinds of ways to address that has nothing to do with reaching out there and taking away people's 2A rights. It just shouldn't happen. This is America. And that is part of who we are. So let's get to this, because he really brings something up, and it's a concern, it's a fear, and it needs to be talked about. Joe Rogan, if you ban guns, only criminals will be armed. Yeah, of course, it's what I was saying. Criminals are not going to worry about whether or not they can legally purchase a firearm. I mean, the guy that shot up the school, yeah, he legally purchased it. But at the same time, if it would have been illegal, he would have gotten the damn guns anyway. And we all know that. So there's bigger issues. We've got to arm people in the school. There's all kinds of steps that's got to be taken here. But taking away guns is not the answer. During the Joe Rogan podcast, the Joe Rogan Experience, this is Breitbart, host Joe Rogan responded to talk of gun bans by stressing banning guns will only mean criminals will be armed. That is not even the main focus of this video, in my opinion. Rogan referenced the Uvalde shooting and other similar incidents and then said, quote, "It's like, how do you stop that? No one knows how to stop it. What is the answer, ? Is the answer to take everyone's guns? Well, they're not going to give up their guns." You're right about that. Only criminals are going to have guns. Sportskeeda.com reports Rogan said, "This country has a mental health problem disguised as a gun problem." That is also a fact. Look, we've lost something about, and it's that age span, something about that generation. And I don't know if it's the influence of social media, but I'm going to keep it real here. They've lost all the ability to cope with adversity and stress. They've lost it all. If they don't get their way, I mean, it is a tragedy. It is a I mean, everything is a meltdown of epic proportions for these kids coming up. They get adversity, they give up. I mean, they throw a fit, and it leads to more sinister things, in my opinion. I don't know. I worry about things like Snapchat, Instagram, things like that. He also expressed concern over gun bans from a different angle, and this is the important part of this video, explaining that disarmed population necessarily gives all the power to the ruling class in Washington, and that is in the back of all of our minds. That is the shit we're thinking about right now. I don't think it's wise to take all guns away from people and give all the power to the government. We see how they are with an armed populace. They still have a tendency towards totalitarianism. And the more increased power and control you have over people, the easier it is for them to do what they do. It's a natural inclination when you're a person in power to try to hold more power and acquire more power. Rogan added, quote, freedoms lost are rarely regained. That is a very good line. Freedoms lost are rarely regained. And I think that is something that is in the back of our mind on this issue is, look, as part of the population, as citizens, we do not want to be unarmed. Okay, we do not. We worry about government overreach into us as citizens. No, this is a right. This is an important right to us, and it's one that's not easily going to be given up. It's frightening. Okay, you're left with no way to defend yourself. And I saw somebody on Fox News yesterday, I believe it was, and they were talking about the fact that, look, the FBI and so many of these agencies have been trying to research since the 80s to figure out what is the deal with school shooters. Okay, because, and they said, we're talking about the people that have figured out how to find serial killers and all this sort of thing, deep dives. And the guy was he simply said, it's got nothing to do with guns. And it's much, much deeper and different than even mental illness. It's something like a step much further down the mental illness line there, okay? Look, we were talking about this yesterday as a family, just standing around visiting outside out at the land. And you have to be a different level of evil to have done what this guy did down in Uvalde, and these guys do when they walk into a school to commit harm on little children. Something's not right there, okay? And that's not a gun issue. It's something else. It is. It's got to be figured out. It's something else. But Joe's right. Whatever we do, we cannot allow government to have that kind of grasp onto us. No. You're reaching into that bubble. Your hands are in the bubble. It should not be there. It should not be there. So that was an important part of this video, in my opinion. More important than even, what do we do about school shootings and all that? That's got to be solved. But down at the ground level, you can't let government take these guns. That's the thing. I mean, it just cannot happen. Because then you've given all power to the government, and we become something else as a nation then. In my opinion, we're already headed there. It's so concerning, the track we're on right now. Tell me what you think, Black and White Network supporters. Peace. I'm out. Till next time, Black and White Network supporters, make sure you check out the Black and White Network merchandise store. Link in the description. Use promo code USA First, all one word. USA First, all one word. 25% off now.